Today we're talking about what happens when you die, death, so much more, and the reason being is that, well, it's my birthday in 2 days, and birthdays always get me thinking about death. So we're going to be discussing this extremely important topic that in the West is very feared. There's this negative stigma around death. And this is due to a lot of reasons, a big reason being that many people subscribe to the fallacious ideology of materialism, that all there is matter, and that's it. So that when you die, you essentially become worm food, and that's it, lights out forever. Now, this is actually a very fallacious way of looking at things. And what I want you to do, many people, if you ask them, who subscribe to this idea of materialism, you ask them, well, what do you think it's going to be like when you die? And they'll say, well, I think it's just going to be like how it was before I was born. Just eternal darkness. And there's a couple things wrong with this. One thing that I really want you guys to think about is I want you to try to imagine non-existence. I want you to do this thought experiment with me right now. I want you to close your eyes and try to imagine non-existence. Go ahead, do it. Now, you'll notice that probably what most of you are doing is just imagining pitch blackness. Well, you can imagine darkness. You can imagine darkness for an hour. You can imagine darkness for a day. You can imagine darkness for a year. You can imagine darkness for 50 years. You can imagine darkness for quite a long time. But darkness is not non-existence. Imagining darkness for a very long time is not imagining non-existence. Think about that. That's a very different thing. And this is because imagining non-existence is impossible. You can't. It's impossible to imagine non-existence. You can imagine darkness for quite a long time, but darkness for a long time is not non-existence. A reason that you can't imagine non-existence is because non-existence is literally impossible. It's impossible to not exist. Now, in ontological mathematics, we show that you want your body, you're an eternal mind, and that all of reality is equal to zero. And zero is something that must exist. Existence is mandatory. Because ultimately, all of existence is equivalent to zero, which is equivalent to nothingness. This means that existence is mandatory, because you can't stop nothing from existing. Nothing must exist. Now, people will say, again, they'll think, oh, well, it's going to be like how it was before I was born. But the thing is, you don't remember what it was like before you were born. You don't have any memories of what it was like before you were born. But just because you don't remember what happened before you were born doesn't mean that nothing happened. For example, do you remember all your dreams every single night? No, you don't. But did they happen? Yes, of course they did. You simply forgot. And the same thing applies here. Do you remember what you were doing in the year 2014 on January 12th at 4 p.m.? No, of course not. Unless something very notable happened. No. Does that mean it didn't happen? Of course not. Of course something did. Lack of memory does not mean lack of existence. So these ideas, the fact that it's impossible to imagine non-existence, hint very strongly at the fact that there is an existence. However, we can know this is true. We can know that there is an existence mathematically by using ontological mathematics. We can rationally understand that there must be. Because we know that this isn't a material world, this is a mental world, a mathematical world. And that ultimately, this is a reality of mind. Indestructible, eternal mind. And existence is necessary. It must exist. And so your light can never go out. It is an eternal light. Now, your avatar, your body, that can die because it's not necessary. It's a contingent manifestation of necessary mind. It's a certain combination, a temporary combination, a temporary structure that can fade away. Now, of course, it doesn't actually get destroyed. It gets transformed into other forms of energy. The dirt in the ground, which becomes a tree, etc. But what I want to show is that there's this very negative stigma surrounding death, that it is feared. Because human beings always fear the unknown. I talk about this a lot. They fear the unknown. And to many people, death is the greatest unknown. And again, so it's feared. Now, what I want to highlight here is that we don't have to have this negative stigma towards death. The Egyptians had a much different view of death. They spent a very long time preparing for death. They didn't look at death as an end, but the beginning of a new journey. And this is the stigma that we need to change, the Western stigma, into a enlightened Hyperion understanding that death is just a transition. It's not an end. Everything is cyclical. Everything is in cycles. And just as a day ends to begin night, so is death, just a transition. As sleep is a transition between days, death is a transition between life cycles. We're going to talk a lot about this. And speaking of Egypt, I also have Awakening Osiris, the Egyptian Book of the Dead. And I'm going to read to you a couple of my favorite short passages from the Egyptian Book of the Dead, which is an excellent book. And I highly recommend this translation, the Ellis translation, for seeing how they thought about death, which was extremely interesting. So, before we do that, this is live video, so I'm going to jump into the comments real quick and say hello to everyone. So, let me say hello to everyone. So good to see you here. Sora, Sandra, Kayede, Miranda, so good to see you all. And big shout out to the Super Chat donors that I didn't get to say thank you for. Madam Cross, Sandra Hanan, and Kizzy Young. Thank you guys so much. And yes, it is my birthday in 2 days, and I wouldn't want to spend it with anyone else but you guys. So, Sandra Hanan says the idea of non-existence is scary to me. Well, it's exactly true that non-existence is an impossibility. And this isn't just an idea. This isn't just something that we think. This is something that we can know. We can rationally know for certain that non-existence is an impossibility. Again, using our system of ontological mathematics. And I'm not going to go into the big details here because it gets mathy. And we want to talk about death today. We don't want to get too mathy. But you can check out my other videos, how we know that reality must be equal to 0. And that 0 is equal to nothingness, which is indestructible. You can't destroy nothingness. 0 is indestructible. 0 is a container for all values, and it's indestructible. And you yourself are a mathematical mind equivalent to 0. You are an indestructible unit. Now, what we want to show here is that death is nothing that we need to be afraid of. It really isn't. Again, we need to look at it as simply a transition, as simply a change. It's a phase change. It's a transition. So what happens when we die? Well, our avatars pass away. And, you know, the Egyptians had a very interesting idea of, you know, the body, and then they had 2 parts of the soul, the Ka and the Ba. And it gets very complicated. I mean, they wrote about death for something like 4,000 years. So there's a lot of different, you know, it's very, very complex. But in a nutshell, they had the idea that the soul is in 2 parts, and the Ka is the part that kind of stays with you. It's kind of like your shadow. It's sort of your personality traits and what it means to be you. But the ba is the part that when you die gets removed from this world and continues its journey. So we know that we, as our avatars and our particular ego consciousness, when we die, yes, our avatars will pass away. And our ego consciousness is just a product of our minds being filtered by the brain, the nervous system, our external conditions, and things like this. But we, as eternal minds, as monadic beings, do not perish. We are eternal. So what happens? Your body is the apparatus that allows you to tune into the frequency of the holos. It's what lets you get around, interact, and explore this particular frequency combination, which is the objective world that we all inhabit together. So when you die, it's just your avatar, and it's a link disconnection. Just like when you're playing a video game, and you set your controller down and stop playing the game, you don't die. So what happens is that you enter into a very dreamlike state. Now, this you can imagine dreams as being a preview of death, a glimpse of death, a taste of death, and dreams are nothing to be afraid of. So when you die and disconnect from your body, you are thrown into a very dreamlike state. And so what happens? Well, this is where you enter what we call the death current. And the death current is an unconscious process that will ultimately end up in you linking to a new avatar, a new body in the holos, and being born again. Now, this doesn't have anything to do with, karma or morality or being a good person. It has to do with optimization and evolution. We're eternal beings, and our goal, our purpose, is to evolve personally and collectively. So the thing is that this process is unconscious for most individuals. This sort of reinsertion, this reintegration process of being born into the holos. Now, if you are a very advanced mind, you can start to become conscious during this process. Just like you can start to become conscious when you have a dream. When you have a lucid dream, you start to become conscious. Guess what? Then you can make choices. When you're dreaming, are you really making conscious choices? Not really. There's a certain dream narrative, a dream pattern, and you follow that narrative. You follow that pattern, right? If in a dream, I don't know, let's say in the dream, you're on a cooking show and you really want to win the cooking show. So in the dream, you're going to try your damnedest to win that contest because that's the particular dream narrative. But guess what? If you start to become conscious and you start to become lucid, you can go, hey, wait a minute. This is a dream. I don't need to do this, and I can just walk out the door and go explore other things. So the same sort of thing happens with the death current. For most people, it's an unconscious process. And this process will end up, with someone being linked to a new avatar in the holos. They're following the flow, right? That's why we call it the death current. This is why so many ancient ideologies, ancient cultures associated the transition, the death process with a river, right? There's a lot of river symbology and metaphor dealing with death. And it's because this is the death current. You're caught up in this river, this flow that ultimately, will lead you through a process that ultimately will lead you into a new body in the holos, a new avatar. Now, the more conscious you become, you can begin to... Oh, sorry about that. Just looking at a few things. You can begin to have control and make choices, right? So we call this setting the initial conditions for your next life trajectory. You can set the initial conditions of your next life trajectory. Perhaps a particular location, a particular set of parents, things like this, as examples of what it could be like to set these initial conditions for your next life trajectory. You can see that as you're able to gain consciousness, you're able to become more aware. And this is why it's so important in this life to work on your evolution, to understand reality, to understand existence, to understand what you are, where you are, why you are here. Because it's all about evolution. This is all about evolution. It's about my personal evolution, your personal evolution, and the evolution of the collective. All of us. We are eternal beings of change. Now, I'm going to read to you a couple of some of my favorite passages from the Egyptian Book of the Dead. And we're just going to read a couple short passages. If you guys would ever like me to read the whole book, let me know, and maybe we'll do a stream for that at one point, because every Monday I do book readings. So there are a few different passages that I want to read, and let's take a look. This is a very interesting. I don't know. It's probably going to be all backwards for you, but this is called Becoming the Snake. And people are so afraid of death. One reason why they're afraid of death is they're a fear of the unknown. They're afraid of what may happen, what may not happen. And this is ultimately a fear of change as well, because change comes with the unknown. Fear comes with the unknown. Fear comes with change. But we need to remove that stigma, because change is not a bad thing. Change is a good thing. It's just a question mark. But there's nothing wrong with a question mark. And humanity has to understand and shed off this fear of change. So, Becoming the Snake in the Egyptian Book of the Dead. The story goes that change is inevitable. So it must be that having eaten dust and rotting flesh, the snake comes to know in his own skin the secrets of change. Through deceit of death, I grow wise in the illusions of time. I change. I grow beyond myself, leaving the papery sheath that once was what I was. I live alone and make my changes in secret. I know the smell of fear, of death, of innocence. I float among lilies. I rest in shadows. I lick the wisdom of air and dust. I know the earth, sky, and men. I wrap myself around the legs of life. By the enmity of others, I learn empathy with all creatures. I lie down in darkness and learn the art of subtlety. I rear and strike in surprise. I know the limits of earth. In my belly, I know this all one place. This is all one place. I leave but a meandering trail in the dust, a graceful passage like the tracings of time. I lie down and change and rise and grow old, and lie down and change and rise. I demand neither fear nor pity. I know what you cannot see. It is not pride that keeps me solitary. In your hands the honey of my mouth turns to poison. It is mere survival, yours and mine. Change is eternity. So this is an absolutely beautiful passage about the wisdom of the serpent and eternal change, and to cast one's skin off. The serpent is always shedding its skin. Friedrich Nietzsche said, "The serpent that cannot cast off its skin must die." I'm paraphrasing. And this means that if you cannot change, you're dead. If you're not changing, you're dead. But this also has a dual metaphor as well. When you die, you're not actually dying. You're just casting off your old avatar. I talk about this in Book 0. When you die, it's like a snake casting off skin. It's like shedding off your old avatar. And it's not a death. It's just the shedding of an old skin. And a snake is an incredibly powerful archetypal symbol. This is why snakes are always associated in mythology with change, and also with wisdom, with truth and understanding, the serpent of wisdom. And why do you think that when you have psychedelic trips that you see serpents? And I know that you who have done this know what I'm talking about. When you have psychedelic trips, you see the symbol of the serpent everywhere, oscillating, undulating. And let me tell you why this is, and I'm going to pull up a picture for you guys. For those of you that know Hyperianism, you know that all in Hyperianism, in ontological mathematics, all of existence is based on the source formula. And the source formula, e to the ix equals cosine x plus I sine x, describes undulating motion. This is why the serpent is burned into the archetypal consciousness of the universe as being associated with wisdom and truth. Because a serpent is an archetypal, a symbolic interpretation, in a symbolic clothing of waveforms, of frequency patterns, of eternal change. This is why, when you have psychedelic trips and things like this, you see frequency patterns, not only frequency patterns, but you see the symbol of the serpent, because it is the archetypal example of all of this. Because how would you describe this? How would you describe this, say, in ancient Egypt, in archaic times? How would you describe something like this? Would you not use a serpent, an undulating serpent? And look in the corner, we have the circle. How would you represent this? How would you represent this circle, this ever-flowing circle? How would you represent this in archaic times? Would you not represent it with an Ouroboros, the serpent eating its own tail, as a symbol for eternity? Do you see why we use the symbol of the serpent and how powerful it is? This is why we are the serpent, saying, eat from the tree of knowledge and you will become God. That's why we have always said this. This has always been our message. Okay, let's read a couple more of some of my favorite portions. And if you'd like me to read this fully in a stream, let me know. And also, if you'd like me to do a video about the Egyptian Book of the Dead, let me know in the comments. And for those of you watching the replay too, let me know in the comments if you'd like to see a video on the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Okay, here's another one that fits in really well with the serpent theme. I am Osiris. Osiris was lord of the underworld. I am Osiris, a god and the ashes of man. I am the skin he takes on and sheds. I am the cord that binds him from this world to the next. I am his excrement. I am his forms. I am Osiris, forever, forever changing, eternal as day, everlasting as night. Can it be said more plainly? Life and death are one. Osiris and Ra. Beautiful. I am a word escaped between two lips. Desire and thought crystallized into form. Light returns to light. I rise from the two pools of natron and niter. I rise from the netherworld. I am the purpose of God, infinite, one, multiplicity of his forms. I rise from a green sea of being. Being infinite, I live 1,000,000 years. I am the action of God's action. I am many things lasting forever. I don't see where it is. I've lost it, but I love this other passage that says, I am clothed in imagination. I love that so much. It's beautiful. It's brilliant. We are in a collective shared dream, and we are literally clothed in imagination. It's our collective imagination. Our body. This is why we have to see what reality truly is. Our body is collective imagination. I am clothed in imagination. How beautiful is that? I have become the becoming. I am one, seeing myself divided. I am 2 and 4 and 8. I am the universe in diversity. I am my transformations. This is my coming together. Here are my selves become one. Anna Nider, thank you for helping us wake up the world. And as you know, in Hyperianism, and Trina Marie, it's going to pop up right here. Trina Marie, thank you for helping us wake up the world. Says, Morgue, this is awesome. Please read this book for the Monday readings. Thank you for all you do. I'm definitely going to consider it, either reading it for Monday readings or possibly doing a standalone video for this, very possibly. So I want you to see that this important symbol, because this is so important. In Hyperianism, we know that this is the symbol that we use, and thank you, Trina. I just answered your question. Thank you so much. This symbol to represent the absolute. Each one of these is an individual mind. Each one of these is an individual eternal mind, which is what you are. And this circle of circles is the collective mind, right? This is the universe, the absolute, the all. This is the collective mind, which is composed of all our minds. And so we experience each other as in diversity. And this is what this passage says. Look at this photo and listen. I have become the becoming. I am one, seeing myself divided. Mathematics is existence. I am 2 and 4 and 8. I am the universe in diversity. I am my transformations. This is my coming together. The Hegelian dialectic, moving towards absolute spirit. Here are my selves become one. Here are my selves become one. Do you see the perspective of the absolute saying this? Us. Here are my selves from the universal. Our universal self, the self that we all share as a collective self. Here are my selves become one. You see, from that absolute perspective, Sam Potts, thank you so much for helping us wake up the world. You're awesome, my friend. From that absolute perspective, I am you and you are me. But we're both individual at the same time. Do you see that we are both one and many? Each one of us is one of these circles, right? That's our eternal mind. That's what we are. That's what I am. I'm one of these eternal minds, so are you. But our universal self is the whole thing, the collective, us working in harmony and cohesion. And imagine a time as we move towards the Omega point, becoming more and more synchronized, in tune, sharing each other's thoughts, exploring each other's worlds. We will become so synchronized and so in harmony, it will be as one. Hyperion Arturo Torres just did an awesome picture of an eye, one eye made up of a myriad of tiny eyes. That's what we are. We are the opening of the great eye. That's why you see the symbol of the opened eye. And as we understand this, the universe becomes conscious. We are the consciousness of the universe, coming to self-consciousness. Scolywag, thank you so much for helping us wake up the world. Says, my parents passed away when I was real young, and would we know each other when it's my time to go? I'm not sure I know what you mean. If you're possibly asking if you will meet them when you die, I'm wondering if that's what you're asking. I'm not 100% sure. I'm just trying to read the question again. I'm not 100% sure if that's what you mean. But here's the thing. We will all be reunited in the end. That's what this is all about. We will all be reunited in the end. And we will all contain the memories of our past incarnations. So we will remember that. We're not going to be the same. But this will be a skin that I have shed. But we'll remember this. We'll retain our memories. So yes, you will remember your parents, and your parents will remember you. But you will be gods, right? It'll be a memory. But you will remember them, and you will connect with them again. We all will. We all will. We all will. Okay. And let me continue here. And make sure you smash that like button, guys. Hit that like button. And if you're on Facebook, please come over to YouTube and subscribe. Scullywag says, sounds good. Excellent. I hope I answered your question, my friend. Okay. Here is... I absolutely love this chapter. And for those of you watching the replay as well, let me know what you're thinking of these readings, and if you would like to see a whole video about the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Okay, I'm gonna leave as we read this. I'm gonna leave this up as I read this section. Well, let me see. This is beautiful. This is one of my favorites. This is one of my favorite passages. It's called Hymn to Osiris. The doors of perception open. What was hidden has been revealed. It is myself I see, and 1,000 colors swirling in liquid light. I am where the sun sets below the mountains. I am in this body. I am that star rising above clouds, hung by a thread from its ocean moon. Hail myself, traversing eternity, walking among gods, a shuttle flying across the loom through the threads of time. Imagine being a soul, a mind, traversing time, traversing worlds and incarnations and evolution and all the whole passage of all the experiences that you have as a mind, going through all the different incarnations, all the phases of existence. Hail myself, traversing eternity, walking among gods, a shuttle flying across the loom through the threads of time. This is all one place, one cloth. A man's life endures. On earth flowers grow, snakes crawl, and wisdom lies in the palm of a hand. All that is will be, hawks and sparrows, the 1,000 lives within. I have come home. I have entered humanhood, bound to rocks and plants, men and women, rivers and sky. I shall be with you in this and other worlds. Think of this as like the universe talking to you, us, our absolute self. Think of this in terms of the absolute, our universal self, all reality, what we are, what we were as one. Thank you so much, Susan Stewart, for helping us wake up the world. I shall be with you in this and other worlds. I have entered humanhood, bound to rocks and plants, men and women, rivers and sky. Imagine, the universal mind, right? It's bound to all things. Think of you when you're dreaming. You are in everything in the dream. You're all of it. You're all the things in the dream. The mountain, the skies, the rivers, the other people. That's all you. And in this universal dream, it's all us as the absolute, as the universal self. It's me, it's you, it's all of us. I have entered humanhood, bound to rocks and plants, men and women, rivers and sky. I shall be with you in this and other worlds. So I know that it's hard right now, but try not to be lonely. And I know it's hard in this terribly fractured world, but we're building a Hyperion community where we can kill that loneliness away, because we are rebuilding the connectivity that was torn asunder. Right? We are the opening eye. We are rebuilding that connection. This is what we're building. Thank you so much, Amanda Scodgens. You're awesome. I know you have. Thank you for helping us wake up the world. Thank you so much. I shall be with you in this and other worlds. When the cat arches in the doorway, think of me. I have sometimes been like that. When two men greet each other in the street, I am there, speaking to you. And I'm here speaking to you right now. As I speak to you, your universal self is speaking to you. This is you, this is me. From the absolute perspective, I am you, you are me. Do you see how exciting? I hope you guys get excited about things like this, because this is the birth of a new consciousness as we understand this. As the world begins to understand this, first in the Hyperion community, it begins here in Hyperionism. When two men greet each other in the street, I am there speaking to you. When you look up, know I am there, sun and moon pouring my love around you. All these things am I, portents, images, signs. Though apart, I am a part of you. One of the million things in the universe, I am the universe too. You think I disguise myself as rivers and trees simply to confuse you? Whatever I am, woman, cat, or lotus, the same God breathes in every body. You see, again, look at the picture. It's all of us. There's no God to bow down to. We are God. We are God. You and I together are a single creation. Neither death, nor spite, nor fear, nor ignorance stops my love for you. May we come and go in and out of heaven through the gates of starlight. Ad Astra. As the houses of earth fill with dancing and song, so filled are the houses of heaven. I come in truth. I sail a long river and row back again. It is joy to breathe under the stars. I am the sojourner, destined to walk 1,000 years until I arrive at myself. And this is us reaching the Omega point, the end of history, the end of time, fully actualizing the absolute mind, absolute spirit, the all. So that's one of my absolute favorite passages from the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Honestly, it's very, very moving. And if you haven't seen the video I did on my DMT experience, you should definitely check it out and see how it was a representation of what I just read. Alora Delosier, thank you so much for helping us wake up the world. And let me jump into the comments here. Hello guys, I hope you enjoyed that reading for sure. Wayne McManus, thank you so much for helping us wake up the world. Honestly, that the power of that moves me. It's, to think how, this was written millennia ago. This was written so long ago in the past, but that truth has been there. Of course, it's been misinterpreted by so many people. But do you see how the Egyptians had a beautiful view of both life and death and what life and death were? And do you see the power of that in contrast to the fear of today's world and how they think about life and death? It's terrible. You get a nihilistic, hedonistic view of death. Well, no, death needs to be looked at as a grand journey of separating apart for a time in this world of appearances, in rivers and lakes and trees and cats and men and women and everyone. But this is our journey through the loom of 1,000 fibers, the liquid light of 1,000 colors, to finally being reunited in the end at the Omega point, as we all come together and remember this dream that we all had together. This crazy, crazy dream, filled with death and sorrow, laughter, tears, joy. That crazy dream that we all had together. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. And for those of you watching the replay, definitely let me know what you thought in the comments. Let me know any experiences you've had, things that you can relate to, things like that. And I'm going to jump into the comments here with you guys and say hello. So good to see you guys, and I'm glad to see that you're all enjoying the reading. That means the world to me. Sora says, what is the Omega Point exactly? Watch my video called The End of Everything, the Omega Point. It's on my channel, The End of Everything, the Omega Point. That is the ultimate, that is the trajectory of the universe that we are all going towards when we are in such harmony, such perfection that the material world ceases to exist and we exist in a pure state of pure mind, pure perfection, pure unity. So good to see you guys. And there's so many of you guys on Facebook. Please, please, please come join us on YouTube. It means the world to me. And if you want to show that you support, please support by subscribing on YouTube. All right, guys. Let's hit that like button. Let's get those. What are our likes at? We're at 360 likes. Let's get those likes up. And let's smash that like button. And I got to tell you, like honestly, reading that and then coming, such that such transcendent perspective. See, this is what connects one to their higher self. You want to be connected to your inner star, your higher self. This is what, you feel that connection. And then to be dragged back down to this world, this kind of silly world of YouTube and likes and algorithms and things like that. It's so silly. But this is how we spread the message, right? It's Darcy, thank you for helping us wake up the world, says, such an eloquent and beautiful reading, one of my favorite books. How could anyone think I was worshiping Satan for having it is beyond me? Brought tears to my face, damn ya. Right? Isn't that sad how this is such an inverted world when something of such beauty will be looked at as something satanic? And I'm actually going to do a video about that very soon. But as I was saying, having this transcendent perspective and being such connected to the higher self, and then coming back to the silly world of sort of YouTube and algorithms and things like that, it seems kind of silly. But it is true. This is the world that we've been thrown into. And though it might seem kind of silly, things like likes and sharing videos, this is how we get this information across. And though it might seem kind of mundane and banal and human, it really, this is how we build that fiber of connectivity. negativity. So again, oh yeah, I might say, oh, sharing video is so mundane. And in a sense, I can definitely see that. But this is how we build that connection. This is how we build that structure. This is how we awaken the absolute, by being able to share this information and get this information out there. Me talking to you is the universe talking to you. It's in all of us. And the universe desperately wants to wake itself up. Just like a lucid dreamer is desperately, trying to come to consciousness in the dream. The universe is desperately trying to come to consciousness in this dream. And the way it comes to consciousness in this dream is by telling itself, hey, you're dreaming. Hey, you're dreaming right now. Hello, can you hear me? Wake up. And that is what happens through videos like this. That's what was happening thousands upon thousands of years ago in Egypt, by scrawling these words, carving these words in, putting these words in, whether they're in scrolls or whatever have you, was the universe trying to wake itself up by spreading this information. Then thousands of years later, this is what we're doing now, but in our form of video communication and YouTube videos and things like this. You see how this is, and we're getting there. We're beginning to awaken on a global scale, especially in Hyperionism. In Hyperionism, this is our goal and our mission. Hyperions are the opened eye, the opening eye, the consciousness of the absolute. And guys, please remember, for those of you watching the replay, please do some timestamps, because I really want people to be able to see this, be able to watch it, be able to appreciate it. And I know we didn't get to it until near the end. So please do me a favor, do some timestamps so people can see this for sure. And we are going to have our secret live stream, guys, in just a few minutes. We're actually supposed to be having it right now, but I'm a little late because of this, quite frankly, amazing stream. So if you want to be a part of our live stream, our secret live stream that's going to be happening in just a few minutes here, you can support at patreon.com/MorgueOfficial. I just put the link in the comments, and that is the best way to support and be able to help us grow. So thank you guys so much for that. And big shout out to everyone today. You guys are so fantastically amazing. I can't tell you how much it means to me to be able to spend my time with you guys, because in this alienated world, this is where I feel connected. I feel connected with you guys in this community, because everywhere else, with everyone else, it's simply lonely and isolating. But with you guys, I feel that true unity and true connection as we build something meaningful in this existence. So it means the world to me. Shout out to everyone. Shout out to everyone who watches. Shout out to everyone who liked and subscribed. That means the world to me. Shout out to all the amazing people who donated. Shout out to Scollywag for being our top donator today. So many wonderful, beautiful people supported. And I can't thank you enough. It means the world to me. And remember, we're going to continue having more streams. We have streams every Thursday, and we have a book reading on Monday, a live book reading, and we are going to be looking at the hidden system of the Pythagorean Illuminati. So you don't want to miss that reading on Monday. Make sure that you are subscribed and that you have notifications turned on so that you don't miss that. So again, can't thank you guys enough. A million thanks to you all. I'll see you all in the secret live stream, and thanks to everyone so much. My name is Morgue. Ad Astra, to the stars.